Hello, everyone. I'm KP, and I support the AR partnerships team here at Snap. And I'm very excited to be here with all of you as the host of our next panel, together with a lot of great entrepreneurs and someone from our investor community. As an ex-entrepreneur myself, I have experienced firsthand the value of platforms that not only invest in building great tools, but also the resources and the support for anybody to build a sustainable business. And let me tell you this, AR is no exception to that. As we get out of the early days and we reach a state of maturity for the Snap AR platform, we hear again and again from our partners and from developers on the platform how important it is for us to build those tools and continue to drive value for them in ways where they can build the sustainable businesses that they aspire to. So in today's panel, we have three amazing founders to share with us all their experiences building on top of the Snap AR platform, and a representative of the VC community that he himself has been an enabler for both platforms as well as innovative experience to be built on top of those. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our fellow panelists. Susie,
Hi.
Dustin, Dana, and Nico, welcome. Could you please start by introducing yourselves, your companies, and tell us what your role is there, and tell us when the whole thing started for you. Nico, for you, when I guess you started investing, and for you guys, when you founded your companies.
Sure. Excited to be here. Thank you to Snap. My name is Nico Bonatos. I'm a managing director at General Catalyst. Our firm is a multi-stage VC firm. We're in the business of partnering with ridiculously ambitious founders who hopefully over time build category-defining businesses. Our mission is to invest in positive and powerful change that endures. I've been doing it for 12 years now. And over the last year and a half, I've been very intrigued and inspired to invest in technical Gen Z founders who are changing the face of the internet as we know it today because they're building products for themselves, because they're going to change the face of the internet as we know it today.
Hi, thank you, KP. Thank you to Snap for having me here. I'm Dana Hermesh. I'm an architect from Tel Aviv, Israel. Moved to New York in 2017 to become an urban data scientist. And in 2020, I founded my company In Situ. In Situ is on the mission to bring future cities to life via augmented reality. We take urban development information from private and publicly available resources to empower citizens in the process of urban change.
I'm Dustin Kokensparger. I'm one of the co-founders of DB Creations, an AR game studio based in Bellevue, Washington. We build games that are trying to, find the next generation of what gaming can be in augmented reality, and I've been doing that since 2015.
Great. Welcome. Susie?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Susanna Bastien, and I'm the co-founder of Jewels, which stands for Virtual Jewelry, or Jewels. Jewels is an NFT platform bringing jewelry into AR and VR. We collaborate with designers from all over the world and make their designs wearable.
And today is the first anniversary of your company.
Yeah,
Happy
that's true.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing. So I noticed that in your intros, you talk about founders, partners, stuff like that. But if there is one word that will help us understand exactly how you introduce yourself, that defines you, what would that be? Like in my case, for example, I always think of myself as an enabler. So if there is one word for you, what would that be?
Innovator for more inclusivity and creativity and sustainability.
Awesome.
I'd say for me, I would go with producer. This is the title that I had when I was in the games industry before founding this company. And for me, that's a really big part of being able to be successful, is being able to manage all the bits and pieces that are required to make video games like we do, which are pretty complicated to build.
I would say that I'm very mission-driven. I feel that no one else can bring to the world what I'm supposed to do with In Situ.
In my case, I would use the word catalyst. That's in the name of our, firm's name, General Catalyst, because the founders are the protagonists. We are in the background helping them establish an unfair advantage as they're building their companies.
Awesome. So most of you, I guess, for our founders in this panel, have started the company a year ago, a few years, back. What was the motivation to get into this space? What was the actual reason you decided to invest in AR?
I have always been very inspired by the possibilities of augmented reality, but it hasn't been until we founded Devils that I really started to contribute to the augmented reality space. So with Devils, we want to make virtual designs, virtual fashion wearable in real time and real life. And when we discovered the possibilities of the Snap camera, we have discussed this before, for Zoom calls. I mean, I work and have been working in the healthcare industry where I sit in Zoom calls sometimes for 8 hours a day. And it just doesn't make sense to dress yourself or style yourself physically. This is what inspired us to build these experiences, in particular with Snap.
Thank you.
I'd say for us, we actually founded the company initially to work on VR stuff. We wanted to kind of build VR games and apps. I know, right? It's so scary. But I think the thing that we realized pretty quickly in developing VR, one of the things we didn't like about it was it's very isolating. You're putting this like headset on that fully obscures your view. You'd lose sight of all the people that are around you. And that was something that really surprised me, how quickly that really started to hit. It's like, oh, this technology is amazing, but we're losing that sense of social, presence being together. And so for us, like augmented reality was kind of the next quick jump. It's like, okay, we see what's going on with VR, it's pretty cool, but in AR, we can have those same kind of experiences that are truly transforming your world to be more engaging, more exciting, making awesome game experiences. But they're also inclusive. They're pulling in the people around you to have that experience. And I think that was the big thing that drove us to move into AR, and we haven't looked back since.
So before I became an architect in my military service in Israel, I served in the Israeli Air Force as a flight simulator trainer of F-15 pilots. So for 3 years, I was at the forefront of technology, observing how the smart simulation really transformed how we train on in-flight malfunctions. When I became an architect, I was very frustrated from how non-innovative was my new profession, from how inefficient was all the process of urban development and city planning. I worked for 6 years in the city center of Tel Aviv as an architect. Tel Aviv, I don't know if who here knows it very well. It's small but pretty aggressive urban development realm. And the more I became an expert in how the city is being developed, the more I felt that I can see the future. I used to walk or bike in the streets. I just knew what will be built where or what could be built where. And I had this moment of clarity of everything that I see, that I can visualize in my mind, is publicly available information. But ordinary people cannot see it. And usually this data is nested and fragmented in the best case scenario, some website, the worst case scenario as a paper on someone's desk. And I was like, why can't we just raise our phone and see a layer of the future built environment on top of the real built environment? And that was back in 2013, 14. I don't know if I even called it augmented reality. When we moved to the US, I definitely didn't know that I would be so fortunate to pursue this dream and build a company. But I was very determined to study urban data science to kind of shift or expand my toolbox as a person who shapes cities or shapes lives through shaping cities towards a more data-driven, tech-driven solutions. So in situ, which I founded in 2020 after interning in the Department of City Planning of New York City, I founded this in situ as the company that truly kind of reveals this layer of information that exists but no one can access otherwise. And to me, AR was never about gaming because that's not my industry. It was always just a very powerful tool to truly change how we interact with the world and to truly empower people as they experience their cities and neighborhoods.
Can't wait to have it in San Francisco. So, Nico, you have been an early champion of AR. Probably known to a lot of people that you were one of the first investors in Snap and Snapchat back in those days. What was your main motivation back then, and what is the thing that gets you excited about the technology these days when we're getting to a place of maturity?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, AR is the future of computing. It's a new way for humans to interact with computers. And in the case of Snap, in the early days, Evan wanted to build the fastest camera app out there. And he stayed true to his mission ever since. Like, he was one of the founders that had a crystal clear way to paint a very detailed picture of the future and has done it all along. Like the seed pitch and the S1 IPO memo had like a lot of the same stuff, which is inspiring to see. But look, for us as venture capitalists, we're following the true innovators and producers, the founders. And as the technology is getting better in the background, new ways to interact with computers are getting born in the heads of the founders that we would like, to see in the world as well. So our mission at GC is to invest in positive and powerful change that endures. We do so by virtue of partnering with ridiculously ambitious founders who hopefully have what it takes over time to build a category-defining business.
Awesome. Well, we talked about what you are looking at in making investments, but they now already raised money from an institutional investor. So what was the support that you were looking for to get by raising that round, and how did that help you in the state of the business that you run?
Of course. So maybe before raising money, so as I said, I started in C2 in 2020, and I started working on the idea in 2019 from a small urban design company in Brooklyn. Back then, I told my boss, yes, I'm an architect, but I just graduated from this data science program. I have this idea of bringing AR for city planning. Can I use part of my time in the office to kind of interview our clients, our partners? And for all of 2019, every meeting that I had in regards to our real projects, to me became a user interview for the idea of applying augmented reality to the process. We talked with planners, policymakers, designers, architects, residents, of course. In January 2020, I left for maternity leave, and we already knew that I want to spin out with that idea and to build a company. And back then, I did not look for money. I never worked in tech. I was an architect before. I looked for kind of a safe environment that will let me incubate this idea and will give me enough mentorship and coaching to become the CEO that this company deserves to have. And back in 2020, I got into the Schmidt Futures Entrepreneur in Residence program. Schmidt Futures is the public benefit arm of Wendy and Eric Schmidt. They're based in New York. And it was me and another 4 amazing impact-driven entrepreneurs that each of us had their own idea and company. For 2 years, we were supported by Schmidt Futures. In the middle of them, at the end of 2021, I raised a pre-seed round from 2 VCs and a bunch of strategic angels. And recently, over the summer, we transitioned out of this program, and Schmidt Futures invested $1 million in In-Situ as a way to, of course, become an official shareholder after the amazing support that they gave us. We are really getting to the product market fit, finalizing the offering that we have to our clients. We are able to launch much more innovative projects. One of them was launched this morning, actually, in Agora Hills here, the first wildlife crossing that we bring to life via AR. So I think to us, this funding is really to kind of get to the next phase of really being able to scale after that.
Well, too many things to celebrate today. So, Dustin and Susie, you guys haven't even raised any money, outside maybe some sort of financial support from Ghost and the Snap Lens network, but you're still running sustainable businesses. So maybe for you, Dustin, first, and then we can switch to Susie. What sort of support would you look for at this point of time, and how can we help, as an ecosystem, your business grow?
Yeah, for us, the big thing right now is trying to understand the market for AR games, right? This is such a new place for people to come to play video games. And so for us, it's a lot of learning about, who are these customers? What are they like? The kinds of games that they're used to playing, and how we can actually build games to, match the things they're looking for. So for us, we're looking for platform partners that can provide, a base of users, like Snapchat is a great example of one for us, that are already primed for AR. That's a really big one because we've launched games on iOS and Android in the past just as standalone apps. And the challenge there is a lot of those users, when we launched, at least back in 2019, they're not ready for an AR experience. They're expecting something that's going to be flat screen on their phone. As soon as you ask them to put something out into the world around them, they don't know what that means quite yet, because they're just not, it's not the ecosystem where people that are used to AR are in. So for us, like coming to a platform like Snapchat, where we have these users that are already ready to go and learning about them, building products together and experimenting, right? Like it's all about that kind of experimentation stage right now for us. And so that's one of the biggest things we're looking for in terms of support from platforms.
Awesome. We're here to do that for you. And what about you, Sophie?
Yeah, I have to agree fully with you, Dustin. There are so many common points we have. Because when we launched the platform last year, it was an NFT platform. So each of the designs is tokenized as an NFT and wearable in augmented and virtual realities. We have seen so many changes in the past months of the market, right? Many companies, fashion companies, are looking into the VR space, right? There have been enormous opportunities with other partners for augmented reality and to build these experiences. So we are also trying to understand where is the customer and the consumer. You have an incredible community of Gen Zs. We also see it in our numbers, who is using our lenses. It's mostly 14 to 17-year-olds. So we really can learn from this and also build these experiences together to make them more fun and also to build the world of tomorrow together. Yeah, so I think we are at the stage where we appreciate every discussion with business angels, investors, with new partners, with other companies, with even traditional jewelry companies.
And that's kind of what you reminded me of when you were talking, is like the space is always moving and changing and evolving. And so, we appreciate being able to work with platforms that are willing to listen to, our insights and help us figure out together, like, hey, what's a path we could go down, knowing that maybe it's not going to be the right one and we have to pivot. Like that's going to be really important to the success in AR, is that agility and speed to try something, test it out with users, see where it goes, and then go from there. And so that's something we've really valued as well as we look to grow our company to the future, is, how can we maintain that agility right now in this space? Everything's moving so fast.
I can probably convert that panel to a focus group. But then you want to say
I can add. So in situ, beginning of 2022, we're chosen to become part of Snap's Ghost Fellowship. And what we were looking for and still exploring, and I think understanding more and more, thanks to what we did with Snap over Ghost, is the right distribution channels of our content. I think my biggest fear was always, what if people don't care? Like, I'm so passionate about bringing future cities to life, but what if people don't want to download an app to see city planning around them? And we started, before getting in touch with Snap, from a mobile app, an iOS app that used ARKit, AR Core, to generate the AR. And it was quite hard to make people download an app, let alone the city planning app, which is not the coolest thing, I guess. But when we got into the Ghost Fellowship, we were looking to test first how Snap's AR technology can just improve the content, the AR experience, so make it much more interactive and engaging, but also using Snapchat as a platform to distribute the same content that was in the past only in our app. What if we put it over Snap? And recently, we modeled and launched a project in Manhattan, a real under review upcoming development in Fifth Avenue in Midtown that can become more offices or can become affordable housing. So it's in this planning phase of review. We put it over Snapchat, and after less than 3 weeks, 100,000 people viewed the project, which is, as one mayor told me when I told them this number, they don't think that ever in the history of cities there was a project that 100 people saw before it was built. So I think thanks to this partnership and to enabling our content on the right platform, the right channel, we were able to make the impact that we were looking for from the beginning.
Well, Nico, as an investor, you're obviously looking at founders before you decide whether you invest or not. So what sort of traits or signals are you looking for there? And clearly, these guys are all super motivated. They are pursuing, like dream projects and, like with passion and a lot of purpose. But outside, giving them extra motivation, what else should they expect from you when they decide to take your money?
Sure. So we're looking for individuals who are learning animals, because it doesn't matter what you did before, what expertise you had. In this new world, especially the AR world, that a lot is to be invented. You got to be able to treat every single user interaction, partnership opportunity as a learning opportunity. So we want individuals who very quickly, within the span of a few years, will become the world-class domain experts in their field. We like, especially for the consumer-facing companies that we invest in, to have at least one founder that has a good understanding of how distribution works. So if you have that, this could mean that you can unlock over time a distribution advantage without having to raise a ton of money, to spend it on paid acquisition, do influencer marketing. This is all the kind of stuff that bigger companies, can do because they have the budget, to do it. But as a young company that nobody knows you, you're trying the hardest to create awareness about yourself. Knowing how to unlock distribution could be really, really huge.
So back to you guys. All three of you are running sustainable businesses. I don't want you to tell us state secrets or, disclose your secret sauces, but I'm sure you have experimented with different business models, NFTs and stuff. Can you tell us what sort of experiments you may have run to help your business generate revenue? What worked and maybe what hasn't worked so that others can learn from your learnings? We can start with you, Susie.
So we have two main revenue streams. Right now, the first one of this, the NFTs. So we collaborate with designers from all over the world who create their designs and we bring them into the virtual space. So we bring them to life. Then we launch or drop the NFTs and we open these designs for the outside world. We also have collaborated with traditional jewelry designers. We have collaborated with Gary James McQueen, for instance. He's a renowned designer from the UK on the Jubilee crown. I don't know if you have seen.
Oh, wow.
Already in June, we launched this crown and it was amazing. It has been worn in the first weekend, I think, over 2 million times. Wow. We also launched this crown as an NFT, and from this experience, we have learned a lot, of course. And also regarding partnerships, we collaborate with, of course, people from the Snapchat Lens network, but also with Snap and with other companies. And here we also have another revenue stream.
Awesome. Justin?
Yeah.
How many virtual goods have you sold?
Not enough, I'd say. I need to sell more.
Yeah, you're getting there.
So like I mentioned earlier, we initially experimented with just launching on iOS and Android as a paid app back in 2019, which, like I said, was not overly successful just because the users weren't expecting it, and launching a standalone app on iOS and Android is just a very difficult thing to do without a large marketing budget, as we, I think, know at this point. So it didn't really go where we wanted it to, and that's where we started looking for alternative opportunities. So, okay, we can't just launch something as a standalone app right now. What other things could we do to get users, to get people playing our games, to do that experimentation that's so key to our success? Working directly with platform partners to build games for their platforms, for their audiences, to collaborate together and be successful, and then use the methods they have for monetization, be it, in-app purchases or ad-based revenue or that sort of thing. We're very flexible to try and test a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm really excited about the future of this space where we could do things like in-app AR advertising. That's something I haven't really seen done a lot yet, but I think compared to a traditional full screen, pop-up ad that you see in a lot of mobile games, I think an immersive AR ad could be a lot less obstructive and a lot more interesting to users. So that's some kind of stuff we're thinking about as we look to the future.
Awesome, thank you. And what about you?
So for In-Situ, we came with the mission to democratize urban development information. So we knew from the very first start that users or residents will never pay for this. So we had to find who will pay for this. We started from real estate developers who are required by law to communicate, to do public engagement about changes that they propose to the built environment. And these have been the biggest revenue channel. Let's admit, real estate developers are not on the mission to democratize city planning, but there are specific projects that were the good candidates to start with. And what we learned and what we wanted to prove is that, one, the fact that it's so accessible and it's only mobile truly allows us to get to a broader audience, that the people who come to city planning hearing and mostly shout out know about everything. And what we proved in all of our projects is that for people, when they explore future developments on site, in real scale, in augmented reality, as if they're already there, they are much more comfortable about them.
Awesome. So, Nico, we have 3 founders here that figured it out, right? They established a business model and hopefully that will be sustainable for the long run. But there are still a lot of use cases with AR that are unproven. And as such, there is no way to monetize. So from your advantage point, 3 years from now, is there a use case that you feel excited about? Not just for the use case itself, but for the opportunity to build a business around it.
Absolutely. In the next 3 years, a lot is going to change because you at Snap and some other larger technology companies are funding the massive, platforms that the innovators in this room and thousands of others are going to be building on top of. So I think 3 years from today, distribution for all things AR will be much easier than what it is today. And for you to have like a very vibrant and sustainable ecosystem, you'll need to come up with monetization opportunities for anybody who would like to be building on top of the Snap platform. I do expect though for like gaming and fitness in particular, consumers will be paying out of their own pocket for some of these experiences. Like this is not so crazy, to believe. It's already happening in VR. And the experience there is not that awesome. It's isolating. You cannot be, behaving as a real human. So in AR, I would imagine it could be like, massively more exciting for consumers to pay for that experience. In enterprise, we're seeing actually good monetization already today. So for example, in the healthcare tech world, we see surgeons and hospitals pay for training.
So Dustin, in the history of platforms, there hasn't been a single one that wasn't successful without a successful gaming ecosystem. But there are a lot of people out there that may not be hardcore gamers. Mm-hmm. What sort of advice or insights do you have for them that are willing to invest in AR, but they don't know yet what sort of vertical or use case they should be investing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things I'm really excited about is AR for advertising. And that's like a huge pool of things, right? It's not just finding out new ways to put ads in front of people, but also ways to use AR applications, AR, lenses, AR, whatever your platform you're on, AR technology to make experiences for companies that want to better engage with their customers. I think there's so much open space there, and like even as a game developer, I'm very excited about seeing where can we use games to be a part of that, and I want to find people building in that space that are making exciting advertising experiences that move beyond what we've already seen today. We've kind of tapped out a lot of the traditional advertising methods that we've used, and so in this new moment where we've got all this blue ocean space to build for AR, I think it's time to start working on the advertising space as well to bring it to this new generation of technology.
And Zuzi, you're into try-ons, whether they are digital products by design or whether they are physical products converted to digitals. There is an opportunity for monetization over there. But again, outside the try-on use case and the commerce use cases, do you see one where people should be investing, leveraging AR?
Obviously, with Devils, we look primarily at the fashion industry, where I really see a huge opportunity. But besides that, I think education, the whole education system, the AR can have such a positive impact on how our kids, right, in future are going to educate themselves. And with this also hand in hand, Nico, you mentioned it, the medical system, surgeons learning how to do surgeries or everything in the healthcare industry, where I also...
So you can bridge the two worlds together.
Yeah, exactly. So AR offers huge opportunities, but I think those with the most impact, like also education and medicine.
So you've all invested in AR, and we're very grateful about that. But what is the unique thing that AR brings to your experiences that you wouldn't have with traditional technologies or web-based technologies? And secondarily, Snapchat, we talked about it, is a great distribution platform for you, but outside of that, where is the value that you can get from leveraging the app itself and the community of users that we bring?
I can start. Sure. Yeah. I mean, for us, AR is really this transformative technology that allows a new kind of gameplay experience we've never seen before. By having people able to experience digital worlds in their physical space and together, I think that's the really important part. VR, as we talked about, much more isolating. But with AR, we have this ability to both all of us see this virtual world we're projecting into our actual space and merging our realities, that's magic like I've never seen before. And I think that's really powerful. And from the Snapchat side of things, we're really excited about the technology that Snapchat provides. The platform itself allows for rapid iteration through lenses. It's something that, in games, iteration is kind of the name of the game for us, pushing builds every day or every week. And so being able to quickly try things out using this powerful technology that is quite advanced. It's one of the more advanced technology stacks we've used for making games in terms of being able to understand the world that we're building in. And I think those two things together make Snapchat a really effective platform for game development for us right now.
Awesome. Lucy?
Yeah, so our mission at Devils is to make virtual designs wearable, and this we can enable very well with augmented reality. I mean, with one click, you can make a beautiful design by a renowned designer, accessible by anyone in the world. It enables inclusivity. You don't need to change the size or the form of the design. Everybody can wear it, just like this, And with Snap, your technology is so interoperable that you can use it not only for social media, but also for your virtual meetings. And I think this is very valuable.
Cities today face so many challenges: climate change, adaptation or recovery, housing shortage, migration and geopolitics. And there is so much to do to develop and to communicate with residents to do it effectively and in the most equitable way. And I think for most people, urban development is too big to perceive. For most of us, the first time you see a project is when it's a construction site, and then you're like, where did that come from? But actually, it was in the process openly available, the data, for 2 or 3 or 4 years, but you just didn't know. And I think if we want to transform how cities are changing, who is part of city change, who is the beneficiary of urban development, letting people see is the first step that we can do, and let them just understand in a very, very tangible and accessible manner. With Snap, I think besides the fact of how amazing distribution channel it was for our content and how we could engage more than 100,000 people in seeing an upcoming development, it's also about the demographics. Marrying these two industries of urban planning, the heavy, the old industry, with the coolest AR technologies, with the most interactive capabilities in such a widely adopted and known platform, we could really get Gen Zs to see and say what they think about an upcoming project in Manhattan. We can truly diversify participation in planning thanks to AR and specifically to Snapchat.
Thank you. I wish we could go on forever, but we only have time for one last question, and let's do it quickly. So if there is one thing that you want people to take away from this conversation, what should that be? We can start with Nico.
This is a very dynamic space, so stay curious and very patient, because whatever you think it's working today, in like a few months from today, it's not going to be working as well. And with all the awesome opportunities that platforms like Snap are going to be throwing at you, you got to be curious to find out about them first so you can make a hell of a difference. So patience and curiosity.
I'll second that from the founder perspective and tell people that want to build businesses and impact-driven businesses to be very mission-driven, patient, and curious about how to bring their ideas to life. Don't listen to people who tell you that you cannot succeed, and always find the one next step that you need to achieve to move forward. I think taking it with the kind of lean startup method truly pays off because you learn so much in the process. And just listen to whoever around you.
Yeah. I think we're all going to say shades of the similar things. Like mine was going to be agility, right? Like maintaining an agile mindset and instilling that in your team. I guess that's the take I'll add to it from the production mindset I think about a lot. Ensuring that the people you're bringing on and people that are going to join your company are also able to join you in that flexible mindset, that ability to, focus on the thing you're doing now, but also be ready to pivot at a moment's notice because the technology will change. You need to learn new skills. You need to become better at something you've never looked at before. I think those are going to be hallmarks of teams that are able to be successful in this space because it's so new and so active.
I fully support all of this. I would add a connect because each conversation is an opportunity to learn So also stay curious, stay agile.
Thank you. Thanks for the words of wisdom. I wish I knew you guys 20 years ago when I started my own startup. It's never too late.
No, never.
Bye.
Thank you.